Now, the US state of New York has dropped its mask requirements on public transportation. Officials say the decision is partly based on the availability of new booster shots of the COVID vaccine, which targets the Omicron variant of the virus. On Wednesday, New York State's Governor Kathy Hochul announced that masks were going from mandatory to optional. She said the mandate is being withdrawn after 28 months. And thanked people for complying. She added masks would still very much be encouraged and people should not judge others for still wearing masks.
Starting today, Department of Health will be issuing new guidance regarding masks based on the CDC guidance, and starting today, masks will be optional. You'll be starting to see these signs. This is our subway sign. So places like shelters, correctional facilities, detention centers, and yes, mass transit. You'll see this little character.
Hochul did say, though, that mask mandates would continue at adult care facilities and other facilities regulated by the Department of Health. She encouraged New York residents to take the booster dose of the COVID vaccine.
For the first time ever now, we have boosters that are approved that are target specific variants. We haven't had that before. These boosters that we'll be talking about today and now be widely available today are to target the Omicron variants BA4 and BA5, which has been the predominant variants for a number of months now.
Now, critics question the timing of the move by Hochul, who recently launched her bid to become a full-term New York governor. Her Republican opponents have been criticising Democrats for the state's remaining pandemic measures. Now, for more on this, we have our correspondent Susan Tehrani live from New York. Susan, first of all, just explain to us why this has gone ahead and just how big of a deal it is.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it seems really, when you talk to many New Yorkers, really political on the part of Kathy Hochul. She's really been criticized for being draconian on these mandates. And while many within her own party have sided with her, New Yorkers have grown weary of not only being lectured by people like Kathy Hochul, but also by covering their faces for so long when they see most of the country moving on. So while her Republican contender Lee Zeldin has really focused on inflation and crime, he has also really zoned in and zeroed in on these sort of pandemic era restrictions that are ongoing in New York. And you mentioned, how different it is. It really, people weren't really abiding by this. They were taking caution and precaution in their own hands. You would see masked individuals and unmasked individuals sitting side by side in mass transits for the last few months or so. So it's not like today, it would be any different from perhaps yesterday or last week. But I think that people had sort of tried to figure out their own pace before Kathy Hochul decided to make this big announcement yesterday.
Thanks, Susan. That's Susan Tehrani live for us in New York.